Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Work Hard, Live Soft, the ultimate guide to building a successful business so you have the freedom to build a life you love. I am looking forward to today's episode because a friend of mine asked me a question that I want to pose to you and actually just see what your insight would be. So the question that I was asked was, if you had to start your business from scratch with no skills and no network, what would you do? And this question made me laugh because I instantly started thinking about my skills and I instantly started thinking about my network because that is what I would default to. And I also started thinking about how did I get started? So for those of you who aren't familiar, I started my business in 2008 as a MySpace designer, and it took me 9 years to actually hit my first six figures. So when I say I started my business, that is when I technically started making money professionally, but I had no idea what I was doing. When I first started, I just knew that I enjoyed doing things on the computer. It didn't necessarily mean that I was skillful at it, but I was skillful enough to get people's attention. And so I would play around on the computer, and I learned a lot about what I know now by playing around on YouTube and subscribing to specific channels that would teach me how to create graphics in Photoshop and design websites in Photoshop. And I actually think what's funny is when I think about my work ethic and my ambition back then, I would sit in the computer lab for 12 hours a day, 10 to 12 hours a day inside of the computer lab, because I didn't have my own computer or my own laptop at home. We only had a family computer. And so I had to, of course, share it with everybody in my family. And trying to share, and while you're being obsessed with learning things on the internet, you don't want to share. So I'd rather just stay at school and learn all of the things. And so during that time, I was learning everything that I possibly could. I also stayed on the computer lab because back then Photoshop was really expensive. I think it was $500 to $1,000 a year. This was before cloud was a really big thing. Now I think Photoshop is maybe $40, $50 a month. But back then, you would have to illegally download Photoshop if you didn't have the money to be able to get it. So not only did I not have Photoshop on my computer, but by the time I got my own laptop, I couldn't afford Photoshop. So it was I had to illegally download it and then put in a fake date of when I purchased it. It was a lot. Okay. Your girl was out here just scrapping, trying to grow her business. So I spent a lot of time trying to develop a skill. And when I think about what would I do now if I wanted to start a business, I had no skill and no network, and I couldn't rely on all of the information that I had now, I would consider what is a skill that is going to be profitable. I feel like the skills right now that are profitable are any done-for-you skills, right? So photography, videography, editing, helping somebody build their business as a virtual assistant, helping somebody with their copywriting, designing, anything where you can actually do something for somebody, something that you can go and take the time to learn how to do and then actually implement it for them. And so when I was having this conversation with my friend, I'm yeah, I would just do design and I would go find clients. And he's but where would you go find the clients? And so then I'm gosh, okay, where am I going to go find these people? And again, I thought back to, where did I find my first set of clients? And in 2008, when I was looking for my first set of clients, I was finding them either on MySpace. They were contacting me because of how my profile was set up. Or I went on Craigslist, and under the services and gigs section, I was looking for people who were paying for gigs, people who were paying for photography, because I also used to shoot photography. So I'm looking under gigs, who was hiring, who was looking for somebody, looking at these ads or these billboards, so to speak. And so now in 2024, I would be looking on some type of freelancer website. I remember saying to him, I would just go on elance.com because that's where my brain went. And when I went on elance.com, it is now, I have to look at where it goes now. I can't remember, but it's a completely revamped business. And so it's funny just to think about the fact that my brain goes back to what I would have done in 2012 or 2011. And so I would go on a marketplace where where multiple people are searching for a freelancer. So freelancer.com, elance.com, Hubstaff Talent. I would go on there and I would simply just Google like how to get a contract gig or how to get a freelancer gig. Anytime I don't know the answer to something, I'm going to refer to Google and then I'm going to go from there and just simply try to go deeper. So I would figure out what my skill set would be. I would be a photographer, a videographer. I would honestly probably start with web or graphic design, because if you don't have the money for a camera or you don't have the money for, like a camera, a photo shoot camera or a videography camera, then I would recommend starting something where there is no overhead. But also when I did start shooting photography, I used to rent the equipment. So there's always a way to figure something out. So I would likely edit, write copy, or build websites for people because I already have a laptop. And then I would study how to get better by either learning through YouTube or maybe just finding an affordable course that would teach me how to improve on this skill. Then if I had no network, what I would do is I would go on these websites and I would get like 3 clients. I would put together some type of package and I would still charge for it just so they could take me seriously, but I would do it at a discounted rate just to create a little bit of an incentive. And I would put together a package. I would let them know, like, typically I would charge this price, but I want to gift it to you for this price for a testimonial in exchange. And with those first 3 to 5 clients, I would give them my absolute best work with the goal of getting them as a repeat client to pay me at the actual rate that I want, and also with the goal of them telling 2 to 3 other people about me. So I'm also now thinking about the growth in terms of me getting in front of more people without it taking even more effort, me getting in front of more people through referrals, and then also me actually hitting my revenue goals by getting them to retain as a client at the price point that I want. I would also start thinking about how much money do I actually want to make? And another reason I love this question is because as I've grown and I've scaled my company, I've recognized that obviously growing and scaling, it just costs money, right? The expenses are higher, the overhead is higher. And sometimes I have moments where I'm like, if I just threw it all away and I started from scratch, what would I do? I think about the excitement of a higher profitability and being able to solely rely on myself. I don't love the excitement of me doing all of the work, but I do like stretching my mind to think about if I could only rely on myself to make ends meet and build a profitable business, what are some of the things that I would do? So let's lay out an example of how I would come up with this package. How would I put myself out there? Because when you're starting from scratch, you have so many questions about, what should my price point be? Do I have the capacity to even service these clients? And why should they even choose me? I think this has become more of a concern as years go on because industries are getting more and more saturated. Like when I first started, I had the benefit of there was not a lot of comparison. When I started, Facebook wasn't as big as it was. You needed a college account to be on Facebook. So your grandma wasn't on there. Your parents weren't on there. People weren't on there really advertising their business. Instagram wasn't around when I first started. And so now as industries are getting more saturated, you do have to consider, if I want to start a new business, how can I actually tap through the noise? How can I actually differentiate myself? And so I would go, let's say I want to go the route of building websites for people. I would actually, let's say I just want to go the route of knowing I want to do a done-for-you skill. I would highly consider what is the biggest pain point that I am noticing is going on with entrepreneurs, right? Assuming I'm going to want to target entrepreneurs. I know that entrepreneurs right now are struggling with creating content consistently, showing up consistently, getting noticed online, growing their social media following. And so I would also look at what they believe the solution is, and then I would create a package that is in alignment with what they believe the solution is. So many entrepreneurs have a belief that if I create more content, it's going to help my business grow. So I would create a brand and a package that basically says, I will help you create 90 days worth of content and help you build an online platform that can allow your business to grow. Another thing I would do is I would create different tiers to packages. So maybe package 1 is I create, 30 days worth of content for you. Maybe package 2 is I create 90 days worth of content for you. And then maybe package 3 is I create 30 days worth of content for you, and I build out your landing pages. So I like creating these different tiers because it gives people options. And I remember when I was running my design agency, I would give people 2 or 3 options. And my logic was that if I give them multiple options, rather than their options in working with me be a yes or a no, I was giving them multiple chances to say yes. Now, I would limit my options to 3 because I don't want to create too much confusion, but you're giving them a level of flexibility in working with you. So I would create an option around them building their online presence through content creation and building their platform with that 3rd tier with the landing pages. Now, when it comes to price, early on, usually when you are creating your packages, you're thinking about how much time is it going to take me and how much do I want to get paid an hour? And I think $15 an hour is fair. And I think it'll take me maybe 6 hours to do this. So 6 times 15, that's how much I'm going to charge, right? And one of the things that I learned early on as a creative who wanted to show up as an entrepreneur and show up better within selling is that you have to learn how to charge based on value. So I would work with entrepreneurs and companies who see and understand the consequence of not being able to get the solution. So what I mean by that is I look at them and I'm wondering, okay, if you were able to get 2 more clients per month as a result of having better and more consistent content, how much more money would you then be bringing into your company, right? So let's say I'm working with an entrepreneur who makes on average $2,500 per client. If they were able to have a content strategy in place that could help them bring in a minimum of 2 clients, that's an additional $15,000 over 90 days. And so if I am creating a package, a 90-day package that is designed to support you in getting $15,000 more dollars in your business, I'm not going to necessarily charge you $15,000, but it makes it easier to position your price point and position the value of what you want to offer. So rather than thinking, I want to charge these people based on my time and it's only going to take me, 7 hours to be able to do this, I want you to consider how much value am I actually bringing to my potential client. So again, I would consider what is the common pain point that I'm seeing with the type of person that I want to work with. For entrepreneurs, a common pain point is creating content consistently and just building a platform or a brand where they are getting noticed. And then 2, you want to consider what is the consequence if they don't decide to work with you. And this comes from market research. This comes from asking questions. This comes from saying, hey, I am a content strategist and I want to take on 3 more clients so I can help them get more clients or attract more of their dream customer through content strategy. Would you be willing to have a free 15-minute phone call? And you ask them these questions. You have to be able to get curious. So I would also spend time doing market research because this is going to help you show up more confidently when you are selling. When it comes to market research, you need to ask yourself, what do I need to know about my ideal client so I can best serve them? And I don't think a lot of people ask this question enough. I think they focus so much on themselves and I need clients and I need to make money and I need to sell these packages. You're going to sell so much more easily when you fully understand what your ideal client actually wants. And you can understand what your ideal client actually wants when you have conversations with them. When you say, what are you struggling with? What do you need support in right now? What are you looking for within a content strategist? Ideally, if you could create, your ideal package, what would that look like? I've created a lot of the packages and the offers that I have now by having conversations with ideal clients, and they helped me put together these packages, put together these offers, because I don't want to just create anything out of thin air based on what I think is a good idea to me. I want to put together what people are actively searching for. So if I had to start from scratch, I would find an audience who was dealing with the pain point. I would create a done-for-you offer, figure out the consequences that they are struggling with, put a price point on it, and I would get on the phone with people and do market research. And while I'm doing the market research, that is an opportunity for me to sell to them and say, hey, if I was able to give this to you, let's say for $1,500, is this something you would be interested in? If you knew that making a $1,500 investment would help you get further along in your business in the next 90 days to help you get 2 more clients per month to bring in additional $15,000 in your business, would this be worth the investment? And so I would test it out like that. And of course, you can get creative, whether you want them to pay in full, you want them to do a 50% deposit. Early on, I'm less focused on the money and I'm more focused on being able to better position myself by getting people results and getting the testimonials. Because once I have that social proof, once I have other people saying Maya was able to get me results, I'm running with that. I'm going to then now have a package that's tied to proof, a package that's tied to positioning, a package that's tied to testimonials, where now I can say, I have a 90-day content strategy that can help you 3x your business in the next 3 months. Here are examples of who I've done it for. Let's get on a call. So if you haven't started your business yet and you're feeling like you need a little bit of support on what you should be selling and just a step-by-step plan, I have created a free resource for you called the 5-Figure Launch Kit. This is essentially everything that I use and my clients use when they are ready to package their offer and sell. And you can get it right now for free. Go to mayaelious.com/launch kit, and I'll make sure that I send it to you right away. So if you enjoyed today's episode, and if you download the launch kit, what I want you to do is take a picture of it, send it to me once you are done working on it on Instagram at MyaElious, and also leave me a comment below. All right, until next time, work hard so you can live soft.